Anyway, I haven't spatchcocked this one because it was still a little frozen. So I seasoned it a couple of days ago, the dry rub, internally and externally, and I just washed that off. So now when I do my kitchen shears, and good strong kitchen shears, and I'm just gonna go right down the spine. You kind of got to do a little work with this. Watch your thumb, mind your thumbs. If you've got good shears, you'll take your thumb right off. So just be careful. But what you're doing is you're going through those ribs, and that is, you could do it other ways. I've done it with like a big butcher knife and kind of hacked it out. But what you want is proper shears. Pruning shears are the best. What they sell as kitchen shears, in my opinion, are garbage. What you want is something for the garden that's strong enough to go through a tree limb. That's what you want for your kitchen. But if you're patient, you can work your way through it. And all I'm doing again is I'm cutting out this one side of the spine, and I'll come in and I'll cut down the other. That's my oven. It just hit the correct temperature of 350. So I'll be cooking at 350. This is a 20-pound bird, so that's going to be 4.5 hours. Now the time is slightly reduced because I've spatchcocked it, because I am spatchcocking it. And basically that, in this case, that means I'm taking out I'm flattening it, so it'll cook more evenly, and it'll cook more, it'll cook quicker, and it looks cool. Okay, took a butcher class years ago, and one of the rules that they said is, for meat, you cut meat with a knife. So I've gotten to the meat part at the end here, so I'll cut that with a knife when I get to that point, when I get the other side done. I don't mind leaving it connected because it makes it easier to have something to grab onto. And again, I'm not trying to waste any of this. So I'm going to go right down that thing as close as I can. Right down that spine as close as I can. And I'll come back, I'll bring you back once I've got it all flat and ready to go. Okay, so now I've cut the spine out. Best believe I'll be saving this because I can roast this down. I can make a stock, amazing stock, flavorful. That spine, that bone, that chicken soup, right? Which chicken soup? Bone broth. Delicious. Okay, so I'm gonna put this to the side. I'll secure my shears. Always secure your tools. And then what I'm gonna be doing now, move this over here. What I'm going to do now is turn this over, and as my friends suggest, is turkey chiropractor time. Spread it out and break those ribs straight down. I like to think about giving it a saving chest compressions. And what I end up with is, once that's broken, and you can actually see it kind of moving, and my son, my 13-year-old boy, loves this part. He loves doing this. And what I've left with is a flattened bird that will cook a lot more even. Some nice targets for my injection that's going to come shortly. But first, I'm going to stuff the bird with my compound butter. Stuff the skin with my compound butter, and I'll bring you back for that in a second. So last night, what I did is to make my compound butter, which you see here before you. Compound butter, 2 sticks of butter into a Ziploc bag, about yay big, and about 2 cups of the ye old Italian seasoning. Love this stuff. Use it like crazy. Great stuff. Let that sit overnight. And what you end up with is these little, I cut them into chunks so I can slide them under the turkey skin. But, you know, they're not be perfect, but you get the idea. It's going under there. Super flavor. A lot. This is going right into your gravy. I'm supposed to go under the skin as far as you can get it. Start with smaller pieces. I found yesterday. It's a lot easier. I don't know, I'm getting weaker as I go. I don't know, but I'm making a cavity with my hand, and I'm just making a space gently, because I don't want to go through the skin, obviously. But you can kind of see I'm just working some space here, and I just went through the skin, but in the back, so it's okay. And then I start working that butter in there. And you can see, I mean, I don't know if you can make it out through there, but it gets in there pretty far. So, and that's great. That's great. That's about where I want it. Because what I don't want it to do is get in the oven 350, melt, and come right back out the same way it went in. I want it to sit in there and pool on that bread. It's just like, it's going to be ridiculous. Because, so I do 3 things to make my turkey tender. One, I dry rub it, or what they call dry brine, or whatever you want to call it. I do the butter, which is kind of almost like a continual basting. And then I inject it, which is coming up next. So, go ahead and I'll bring you right back, and we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so, I'm back. So, injection. That's the magic for making it moist, in my opinion. Half a can of beer. Kind of a thing for my dad. My dad always cooked with beer. Then, for flavor, found this yesterday at Costco. I normally use the Italian seasonings, but I have to strain it because it won't go through the injector well. This was great. Smells amazing. This is garlic, roasted garlic. So I'm going to take a scoop of each one, a hefty scoop of each one, and put it in. Hefty scoop of each one. Maybe even a little bit. That flavor is just crazy. Nice healthy scoop of each one. Mix it in there. Okay, I've added a little bit of water because the better than bouillon is the best thing there is. It's a little salty. So I added some water to cut that. So I'll mix that. I'm using a vessel that is shallow but wide because the injector, I mean, I could use a deep cup, and I have in the past, but you kind of got to fish it out of there. This way, plenty deep enough. And even at the bottom, it's kind of tapered, kind of nice. So, there's no real secret to injecting. You inject every inch of it. I've moved it from the cookie sheet, which I was using to crack it, to a pan. And I get a cash and carry. And actually, this turkey is a 22-pound turkey. So I went with 2 because it was already bowing. And who wants that? You know, trying to move a turkey later on is bowing. I switched it already. And I'm going to leave it on the cookie sheet to give it a little more strength when I move it. So, it's about 9 a.m. This turkey is going to be for this afternoon for Thanksgiving. It's going to take 4.5 hours. Minus the spatchcocking time. You just got to watch it. I have an internal thermometer I use. A 165 is what I'm going for. So I use 2 measurements. I use a time and I use the temperature. Cooks covered for the first hour. For the first half, a little more than half. And then for about the last hour and 20 minutes, it's uncovered and I'm basting it every 30 minutes. Every 15 minutes. Depends on what we do. Okay, here we go. get one of these, make sure you've got one of these. I had to scramble last year to find one of these. I start on one side and just poke and feel. Poke and fuel. You got a fresh poke. There you go. You lump her up. And then rinse and repeat. One thing with the Italian seasoning, you have the herbs stuff floating on the top. Make sure you're below that, because it will clog your injector. And just keep going. And that's it. And so, I'm going to do, there's no such thing as too much injection. I mean, it's flavor. And turkey's lean. So, it's going to mix with that butter. And it's going to make for, in my experience, it's made for a much more flavorful bird. When I grew up, turkey was dry and overcooked and kind of not the most pleasant experience for a lot of people. Of course, my mom was the best turkey cook in the world, but just generally speaking. But I think most people cook turkey too high, cook at 350. I think they cook it too fast and they dry it out. And so I desired to become good at cooking turkey and learning what was necessary and what the pros do. And I'm telling you, the secret to better food is more butter. Put butter in everything. So there'll be what, two sticks of butter in this turkey. Then into the roux, which I'll bring you back for later on, there'll be another stick. There's a lot of butter. The butter is good for you. Well, maybe not, but tastes good. Okay, I'll bring you back for that part. Okay, so she's been plumped. So I put about 2.5 cups of injection. I actually had to make up a little bit more. Coors Light, not Bud Light. We don't want no questionable turkey situations going on here. It's hard to tell, but every inch of this turkey has been thoroughly plumped. And these are just mandatory. So I won't end up using all of it. I made probably another cup of it. So now, cover it in the oven. The oven's already preheated. I'm down on my second to the bottom rack because I want it as far the top away from the heat as possible. It's going to go in there, like I said. I'll set my timer for 3 hours, and then I'll take the top off at that point, and then I'll start basting. Turkey baster. Okay, and I'll bring you back for that. So here we are. Turkey's out of the oven. Smells amazing. I took some of the juices on one of my bastings and I put it in the gravy. About one of these guys, about 4 cups, 3-4 cups, right into my gravy after I made the roux. I just squirted a little bit in there because that flavor is off the chizark. Smooth. Very smooth. There's a few little spots because it's been sitting for a few minutes. But as I serve it, I'll whip it to where there's no just time. Break down those bubbles until you just end up a smooth gravy. And there we go. I don't know. That's not good. Not good to have stuffing in bird. It's just a big bird. Ta-da!
Does this need to be reheated?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Feels pretty warm, but
Yeah, but it's fat, so it will coagulate otherwise. See? I knew I was smart and happy. Mr. G, I know you're gonna try that piece of that turkey now.
I know I will.
Ooh, Daddy. Look at this. Will you look at this? Will you look at all that meat?